The fine arrived on a Tuesday, folded neatly into an envelope stamped with the HOA's logo like it belonged there. $30,000. Unauthorized construction. Non-compliance. Backdated penalties. I read it twice, then a third time, waiting for the joke to land. My cabin sat nearly half a mile outside the HOA's boundary. Always had. It was the whole reason I bought the land in the first place: privacy, trees, quiet, and freedom from laminated rulebooks that thought grass length was a moral issue. I walked outside, looked at the tree line, and laughed out loud. They had to be bluffing. I emailed the HOA board politely, attached a copy of my deed, and highlighted the boundary survey. I even included the county parcel map, complete with bright red lines showing where their jurisdiction ended and my property began. Their response came within the hour. Our legal counsel has reviewed your materials. The fine stands. That's when I knew this wasn't a mistake. Over the next week, the letters escalated. Late fees. Lien threats. Warnings about seizure proceedings. One letter even referenced foreclosure, as if they could take land they had never controlled. I attended the next HOA meeting out of curiosity more than anger. The board sat behind a folding table like minor royalty, 5 people, identical expressions, identical confidence. The president didn't let me finish my first sentence. Your cabin impacts the community, she said. Visual harmony. President. I'm not in your community, I replied calmly. I'm not in your HOA. She smiled. That's not how we interpreted it. That sentence did something to me. Interpretation isn't law. I hired an attorney the next morning. Not a flashy one. A quiet one who asked a lot of questions and took a long pause when I showed him the letters. They find you personally, he asked. Yes. Named you individually? Yes. And threatened enforcement actions without jurisdiction? I nodded. He leaned back. That's interesting. 2 days later, he sent a formal cease and desist. It cited statutes. Jurisdiction limits. Case law. It warned the board to withdraw the fine immediately or face consequences. They doubled it. $60,000. Now with board-approved enforcement. That was the moment my lawyer stopped being calm. They just crossed from overreach into personal liability, he said. HOA protections only apply when they act within authority. I asked him what that meant. He smiled for the first time. It means they're not hiding behind the HOA anymore. We filed suit the following week, not against the HOA as an entity, but against each board member individually. Abuse of authority. Harassment. False lien threats. Intentional misrepresentation. The court date was set fast. When the summonses were served, the emails started pouring in. Can we resolve this amicably? This has gone too far. There may have been a misunderstanding. I didn't respond. The day of court, the board members sat together, whispering, glancing at me like I was the problem they couldn't wish away. The judge entered, scanned the case, and looked up. Let me get this straight, she said slowly. You fined a private citizen for property not under your jurisdiction and then escalated. The board's attorney stood. Your Honor, the HOA acted in good faith. The judge raised a hand. I wasn't speaking to you. She turned directly to the board president. Show me where you had authority. The room went silent. The silence stretched long enough to become uncomfortable. The board president shuffled papers that didn't help her. Their attorney leaned in, whispering urgently, but the judge was already waiting. Well, the judge asked. The president cleared her throat. We believed the property fell within our sphere of influence. The judge blinked once. That's not a legal term. My lawyer stood. Calm. Prepared. Your Honor, may I introduce Exhibit? He placed a large, color-coded survey on the screen. Boundary lines. Coordinates. County stamps. Dates going back decades. This is the official county record, he said. It shows, beyond dispute, that my client's cabin lies outside the HOA's jurisdiction by approximately 40 feet. The judge nodded. Clear enough. Exhibit B, my lawyer continued, is the HOA charter itself, which explicitly limits enforcement authority to parcels listed in Appendix Key. He flipped a page. My client's property is not listed. The board members began shifting in their seats. Exhibit Key, he said, is the fine notice, signed by the board president personally, threatening liens and foreclosure without legal standing. The judge leaned forward. You saying this? She asked the president. Yes, she said quietly. And you approved the escalation? Yes. And you were aware the property was not in your HOA? The president hesitated. The judge raised an eyebrow. Answer carefully. Yes. That was it. The judge set her pen down. How board members are granted limited protection when acting within their authority, she said. What you did here was not enforcement. It was intimidation. She turned to the other board members. And by approving it, each of you assumed personal responsibility. Their attorney tried to intervene. Your Honor, the board relied on counsel. Then counsel should have known better, the judge replied. But reliance doesn't erase harm. She ruled swiftly. All fines were void. All enforcement actions were declared unlawful. The HOA was ordered to issue a public retraction. Then came the part none of them expected. I am referring this matter for review regarding abuse of authority and potential civil penalties, the judge said. Additionally, the plaintiffs are awarded legal costs. One board member whispered, does this mean? Yes, the judge said flatly. It means you are personally liable. Outside the courtroom, the group fell apart. Two board members resigned on the spot, another avoided eye contact and left without a word. The president stood frozen, staring at the steps like they'd betrayed her. Within a week, the neighborhood knew everything. The HOA sent an emergency notice explaining key leadership restructuring. Property owners demanded refunds. Meetings turned hostile. Elections were called early. The new board sent me a letter. It was 1 page long. We acknowledge that your property is not under HOA jurisdiction. We apologize for the actions of the prior board. No logo. No threats. Just paper. I framed the original $30,000 fine and hung it in my cabin. Not as a trophy, but as a reminder. Power only works when people don't question it. And jurisdiction matters more than arrogance.